I quite shockingly didn't know about where East and West Germany came from until fairly recently. And one of the things that kind of highlighted what was going on there was this documentary called Car for $1, which is about the Trabant.
Oh, yes.
The Trabant. So after the war, the Russians took everything that wasn't nailed down and most of the stuff that was. So, and a couple of guys got together and they're like, we want to make a car. It's a shame we have no infrastructure or materials or budget. How are we going to make a car?
What can we make?
What can we make a car out of? Well, the textile industry has all of this cotton they don't want. That's junk. And the petroleum industry has all this, like, matter that they also don't want. Maybe we could put those together, sort of squish them real hard under pressure. We'll call it Duroplast. And it will be the first synthetic unibody car. And we'll make it 2-stroke. And we will conserve the tiny amount of steel that we have for the really, really important parts. Yeah. That'll be great. We'll make a car. And it actually was kind of a thing.
Was this also covered in Cars of the People?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But there's like an actual Trabant fandom.
Oh, well, of course.
Well, of course, but
Yeah.
like apparently, like when the wall fell, like there was rows of Trabants driving through the gap. They're like, "Yay, we're whole again!" And there was like jokes about it, where it was like, you know, a disposable car because it was like really cheaply made.
I want to see a picture of this.
I want to see a Trabant too.
I don't know what they look like. I can't picture it in my
the
head.
game Jalopy is basically you're driving a Trabant by a different name.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Ah.
I've seen these. There you go.
Oh, yeah,
Basically that one.
All right.
Basically what Asco
It's
posted.
adorable. They did experiment with making the body out of... the reason they had to use Duroplast was they didn't have access to the tooling to make like stamped steel body parts. They actually did experiment with making the car out of cardboard. It melted in the rain.
Yeah.
As one, yeah.
I don't know why they didn't think it wouldn't.
Can I share one more like story about German industry?
Sure.
So, during the war, the Allies found something very distressing in the wreckage of downed German fighter planes.
Uh-huh.
They were made out of these large, single-formed cross-sections made out of magnesium. And they're like, where the hell did these come from? Like, how were these made? Because to that point, the Allies would build their aircraft superstructure out of many different parts that were like bolted and welded together.
Mm-hmm.
But this was just like one piece.
Huh.
And it was like, what? And the reason for that was after the First World War, I think Germany had a lot of its iron resources cut off, but they retained tons of their magnesium resources. And what this discovery pointed to was the existence of a large-scale hydraulic press, like a really, really, really big one, which would form magnesium into these like large pieces that had a lot of advantages because like magnesium is light, it's very strong, and making it in one piece means you don't have to spend a whole ton of time like putting it together, and you're just able to do that. And so after Germany was defeated, there became this big like press gap between like the Soviet Union and the States. So they had like, you know, they have a big press and we have a big press, and there's like this thing. There's a video about it that I watched where there was like this press in the States called like the Mesta 50 or 500 or something.
It's just an enormous hydraulic
It's this
press.
Gigantic press that has made tons and tons and tons of parts for all sorts of purposes, like the aerospace industry and like just.
I want to look at pictures of enormous
I know,
hydraulic
it's
presses.
wild. Like just the effect it's had on like the political landscape and industry. Yeah, there it is. It's really big. Also, that's half of it. The other half is underground. Because
Sure, why not?
It functioned for a long time, and then they found like cracks in it, and they had to repair it. It's wild. I think,
Unreal.
I think the video that I watched, it was called Origins of Precision. It's this guy's, there it is. Yeah, that's the one, America's Iron Giants.
Oh, what a clever name.
Yeah, he got there. So,